In today's video, we're going to show you 10 reasons why you must be extremely frugal. Number 1, to break free from the 9-to-5 work. Your job takes up an extremely large amount of your life. And in fact, the average person will spend close to 90,000 hours at work, or about 1/3 of your life. The question asked is if you really want to spend a third of your life working from 9 to 5 to try to make ends meet. Most likely, the answer is no. And that's exactly why you need to be extremely frugal. What being extremely frugal really means is that you make the most out of your resources, save your money, and spend only what you need to. What this does is it allows you to save up enough money to not have to rely on your 2-week vacation time per year to enjoy yourself. For example, you could practice the frugal tip of creating a side hustle that works by making you passive income. This way, you can grow your money and not just become reliant on your paychecks from work, thus allowing you to eventually be free from your 9-to-5 job. Number 2, not to be controlled by consumerism. Whenever you get your paycheck, is the first thing that you think about is what new item you're going to spend it on? Or maybe, just maybe, you're somebody who's influenced by the latest and newest items on the market, like an iPhone, Tesla, or Samsung. And if that's the case, then you are driven by consumerism. Consumerism is essentially buying items simply for the sake of having them. However, this just causes you to spend more than you need to on items that you often will forget about within a short amount of time. But if you choose to be extremely frugal, then you won't struggle with overconsuming. But instead, you won't buy the latest trending items, but only buy an item whenever you need it. For example, you'll only really need a new phone when your old one breaks, or you really only need a new car when you can actually afford it. Number 3, because you're average. If you think your lack of intelligence or ability to come up with $1 million business plan is what's stopping you from saving money, then we're more than happy to prove you otherwise. There's a simple solution that can help you save money and enjoy life without having to think too much. The answer is being extremely frugal. Now, it doesn't take much thought to change your light bulbs to LED ones to save money on electricity. And neither is it to take a rocket scientist to find coupons on grocery items, which you might already buy at the store. These are just 2 small examples of how easy it is to be extremely frugal and how any person can do it. If you decide to lead an extremely frugal lifestyle, then you can enjoy having $1 million without needing the genius plan to get you there. Number 4, to live life without consistently thinking about money. It is more than likely that one of the things that you think about most of the time in your life is finances. Whether that be checking if you have enough money for rent or mortgage this month, or even how much you're spending on your groceries, or even that new purse you want from Amazon. Since money is so integral in our lives, it only is natural to think about it, but it can also be a draining and stressful experience if you're somebody who is tight with every single paycheck. But that's why you need to be extremely frugal. If you practice extreme frugal living, you'll be thinking about money a lot less instead of more. While many may think frugal thinking only thinks about money through ways to be cheap, that's not exactly the case. Frugal people simply avoid unnecessary costs in their lives, which causes them to avoid thinking about spending at all. They live their lives knowing they can afford it by doing it what they do every day, so that way they can instead focus on what really matters to them. Number 5, to gain freedom. Who doesn't want freedom? Freedom to choose whether or not you want to work or to buy an item that you desire when you want it, or even going on a trip. While many people dream of this freedom, the feeling of being tied to your finances feels like a nightmare. They feel like they have to work to make money, and that they have to suck up to a bad boss because they don't have an option. However, there is a way to break free of the chains of restraint, and that is through extreme frugal living. By being able to learn all the skills of frugality, you can make the most of the paychecks that you receive by making sure your debts are paid off and that you're living below your means, plus putting your money into a savings account. These small yet effective tips can actually help you find freedom and not have to do things, but do things because you want to. Number 6, to not desire riches. Have you ever dreamt of having the biggest house on the block with all the latest gadgets that anybody could get their hands on? While being rich can be tempting, it's usually a sign that you're striving for money for something that others that wait for it. That could be for status, recognition, and to build up your ego. But what if you want money so that you can be more generous to those that you love and enjoy life more because of it? Believe it or not, most frugal people don't aim to get rich, but to simply have an easier and happier life that's not tied to money. They don't desire riches, but they desire relief from the stress of money, and we're pretty sure that's what most people want. Number 7, because you care about the future. Whenever you go grocery shopping, you usually buy food for at least a week or two into the future. And by paying your water bill, you make sure that you always have enough to drink so that way you don't dehydrate. Whenever buying a home, you always make sure that it's built to last so that way you can ensure that you always have a roof over your head. These are all things that you do to take care of your future survival, but we often don't do that with arguably the most important resource: money. One of the trademark signs of somebody who is extremely frugal is that they're saving their money. In fact, they do this because they care about their future selves and understand that money is why they have enough food, water, and shelter to survive. If you are somebody that is struggling to treat money as a necessity for survival, think about this. Once you give up your entire stock of food in your fridge so that way that you can have designer clothing, or would you give up all of your drinking water to get a brand new Corvette? The answer is most likely no, so why would you give up your money for it? So practice being frugal so that way you can make sure that your future self can be secure and happy. Number 8, so you don't have to pay off debt for the rest of your life. Debts are what make up the biggest expenses that any person has to pay. The biggest debt is a home loan, followed by a car, and for those that have them, student loans. These are huge costs that can really be a setback for your financial as well as mental well-being for now and even into the future. Sometimes these debts can't even be paid off entirely in one lifetime, but rather there's a way not to only pay off your debts, but to prevent them from ever coming back. The easiest way to get rid of debts and prevent them from appearing again is to make sure you're practicing frugal living and living well below your means. What this means is that you're never spending more than you're earning, and that way you can focus on getting rid of all your debts quickly and making sure that you never deal with them again. Number 9, to continue appreciating things. It's normal to find things boring when you have easy access to them. They start to lose their interest and luster, and the desire to move into something else to satisfy you starts to creep up. Unfortunately, whenever you lose appreciation for things, you end up losing a lot of money by spending them on things. But if you practice frugal living tips, you can avoid losing appreciation for things and make sure you're making the most of your money. A great frugal tip that you can practice avoiding losing appreciation is to make sure that you limit the amount that you spend on treats. Whether this be personal purchases like makeup, clothes, or food at your favorite restaurants, or for example, only letting yourself spend once a month for a new makeup item so that you can always have something to look forward to and have the childlike enjoyment of tinkering with a new palette. Lastly, number 10, so you can live simply. Frugality and simplicity go hand in hand, and one of the best things that anybody who struggles with organization and finances can benefit from is simplicity. For instance, some of the happiest and most peaceful people on earth are those who practice minimalism. By getting rid of so many small choices that can cause you stress or take up a lot of time in your day, like what cutlery to use, what mug to drink from, what color clothes you're going to wear, or even what shoes you're going to put on, can all help you to find more enjoyment in life and save you lots of money. So, if you want to live a more simple and wholesome life, then you need to be extremely frugal.